Yeah, in the next 20 minutes, what I want to discuss is the importance of continuously working with customers and how that's connected to building great journeys. I will also share my Eureka moment behind founding Leanlab a few years ago, and together with that, I will discuss a case study from Lindex Group, how they start working more frequently with their customers to improve their customer journey operations. And then I end up in a short wrap-up or share tips how you can push the boundaries for customer or user-led work in your organizations, depending on your maturity levels. So let's get started. As you know, we now live in the era of the customer. That's why we're here. So we as consumers, we as customers, we're really spoiled for choice. We have lots of different brands and products and services that we can all choose from. And it's relatively easy for us to switch from one brand to another these days. So to stay competitive in this era, what we need to be doing is building meaningful experiences for our customers. Meaningful experiences that will drive loyalty, repurchase, recommendations, word of mouth, and so on. However, the catch is that those meaningful experiences hinge on our ability to connect with our customers, their problems and their challenges. Without that ability to understand customer emotions, feelings, needs, jobs to be done, it's immensely difficult to innovate your customer journeys through and hit the nail. It's impossible to prioritize your CX roadmaps with the right customer value initiatives. So the speed of learning is absolutely vital when we think about developing customer journeys and becoming excellent at it. Sadly, many companies suffer what I call the flat user learning curves. So meaning that companies are not learning from their users as they travel through the double diamond or the service creation process. And the last point, when they start learning really sharply, is at a point of release. So let me just illustrate this. So on the horizontal axis, you see what you might call a double diamond or opportunity mapping, concepting, ultimately release phase. So that's your creative journey, developing new experiences and services. And on the vertical axis, you can see the accumulation of user learnings through that process. And the flat curve, the pink curve, means that you're not really working with your customers throughout that journey. You're not accumulating your learnings and you're not learning fast enough. And like I said, the point of learning is at point of release. Now, let's take an imaginary company and let's work this out, what it might mean when we look at inside the company. What happens with a company that is suffering from relatively flat user learning curve? The journey might begin from a sales call. Sales guys come in, talk to product teams. They say that, oh, we should have this feature or we should build this experience, otherwise we'll lose these customers. The product teams might go all wobbly and say, oh my God, that's so true. The competition is doing this, they have this service or they have this experience or the feature, we should do it as well. Goes to higher ups, department heads, they start conceptualizing, yes, absolutely, this is a must-do exercise, it's a must-win battle. We need to have this feature, otherwise we'll continue losing our customers. Then it's passed on to prototyping team. Then there is an internal design committee looking at the beautiful prototype that you created, a new service experience or a new feature or whatever it is that you're working on. And it's fantastic. It ticks all the boxes from different teams. It has all the needs from different departments. So let's go into the launch cycle. Maybe pepper it with some marketing support along the way. Then you launch and nothing happens. Square zero. And you might get a few angry calls or confused calls to your customer success. If you're a SaaS company or if you're a bigger enterprise, you might call it customer call centers. Customers asking, okay, this is the new thing, can you help me out? How should I work with it? You might get those. And then somebody in the room goes, oh, that's actually a pretty good idea. Let's ask from our customers how we can tweak this feature and make it better so that there is real adoption. But if you're asking customers at this point, you're far too late in that process. The real issue, which you haven't addressed, is you haven't worked with your users along this journey. So you're asking these questions, popping these questions way too late. And with that, I moved to my Eureka moment behind founding Leanlab. So the question is, how can we then learn faster from our users? How can we bring them into this process and really start collaborating with them? So the aha moment starts from a few years ago when I was working as a customer research consultant, and I worked in a design company, design and tech, helping companies to build new services. And over the years, I had grown quite uncomfortable the way we were able to interact with the target audiences, the very services that we were building. There was a little time, there was a little budget to do any research with the actual users or the potential users. And mostly it was based on very good arguments, like there's no budget, there's no time, just go out and do it. What you end up doing is you end up doing that flat user learning curve. So you end up doing a lot of guesswork through the whole cycle, and you have to make educated guesses. So I start wondering, like, if there is a smarter way we could collaborate with users and customers over longer periods, whilst having things economical and fast. And that's when it hit me, Leanlab. It's a lean and safe collaboration space where you can test ideas and concepts in iterative fashion with users. So we developed the idea further and launched Leanlab as a SaaS company 3 years ago. So allow me briefly to share what we built so far so you get an idea. First of all, the platform that we built, we call it a continuous user collaboration platform. And it connects the customer journey operations together with customers. So you have your different CX initiatives. You might be working on a specific flow or set of opportunities, but you want to connect those opportunities with your customers to really understand not just the what, but why and how you can solve those challenges. And the central part of this platform is the private customer lab. And private customer lab means that you can invite your customers there to have a say on those big and small UX and CX development initiatives. And the way you bring customers onto lab is you recruit them more on a permanent basis. So you can recruit your customers from CRMs and social media and websites and invite them into this private and exclusive program. The lab sizes vary from 100 customers to thousands of participants, again, depending on what markets, what products, what segments you're working on. So the key idea here is that you have your customers in one place, which makes the user collaboration much more immediate. And like one of our customers was saying, in 24 hours, you can capture hundreds of voices from your customers to any initiative that you're working on, whether it's early stage ideation, whether it's conceptualizing, whether it's validating. That brings me to the second kind of key consideration when we started building this platform, is we wanted to build a platform that would go beyond surveys. We wanted to build a platform that would have a range of different user research tools to support both the problem but also the solution space. So we divided the platform and its kind of core functionalities in terms of the UCD tools into 3 areas. So the discovery, the conceptualization phase, and then the validation phase. So to give you an idea, on the early stage, you might involve your customers more in the qual type research. So you run qualitative discussions or you set up digital diaries to understand your customers' jobs to be done, the emotions as they travel through your journeys. In the mid-funnel, in the mid-stages when you're conceptualizing, we have tools to allow our customers to fast and quickly test concepts, get preferences, first clicks, and sort out the design direction and keep validating that design direction as you develop the service further. And then further down in the funnel, we have what we might call validation tools. So validation tools, like unmoderated usability tests, setting up beta groups for people to test your products and service before you go into launch. And again, trying to move from that flat user learning curve to very steep user learning curve. So you are ideating, validating your ideas and thoughts constantly with your customers. And thirdly, we wanted to build a set of dashboards that would be really easy to swing the insights straight into action. As a consultant, I used to spend a lot of time in making pixel-perfect presentations on user insights, but that's not really the purpose for user insights. User insights should be something that you can easily swing immediately into action. They need to be actionable. So we wanted to build a set of dashboards, you can see here in the background, to facilitate that process. So you don't have to spend endless amounts of time on analysis and presentations. You can quickly see what is it all about by bringing the qualitative and quantitative results into these single views. So on the left there, you can see quick preference test where you can see what concepts are resonating and why using the qualitative feedback. You have comparison charts, so you're not just looking at total results, but you are able to dig deeper into customer segments and what different user groups are saying. And then on the right, we are bringing and marrying the qual and quant together, because that's the only way you can differentiate and become competitive in that space. You need to have both qual and quant to be able to build those great journeys. So all this is done to help our customers to save time and take action faster. We're 3 years in, so we're quite new into the market, but I'm really pleased to say that we started working with a growing number of Nordic CX and UX teams. So we're working with many companies across different verticals, and we're really helping them to revolutionize the way they are connecting with their users on a daily or weekly basis. And recently we did a study and asked customers, like, okay, what do they feel are the key dimensions of this type of offering? And kind of fell into those 3 boxes there. So, all of our customers really feel that this is kind of the missing link, because a lot of customers are suffering from that, not having a systematic process for user research. So we bring that process in with these toolkits, and then we help our customers to save considerable amount of time. The bottom, kind of above line time. So if we're thinking about shipping new products and services, then they don't get stuck in the user testing phase, because you can iterate faster. And then below the line, so for us as practitioners, we are helping our practitioners, so designers, service designers, to save a lot of time, because you don't need to spend endless amounts of time on doing interviews. You can quickly do it online and scale fast. And thirdly, very importantly, the users, the customers feel much more connected with this type of user research, meaning that we're bringing them into space where they can actually see how they're participating, how they're helping out the company to make better decisions. So they feel much connected with the development teams. They feel much more engaged, and therefore they are contributing more compared to standard box email surveys. In fact, one of our customers recently on one of our webinars said that they're getting 10 times better response rates compared to email surveys that they might be sending to their customer base. Right, so let's move on to a short case study to look at what Lindex Group and their flagship brand Stockmann, which is a department store in Finland, in Helsinki and Tampere, and how they have turned around their ability to talk to their customers more frequently. The background for Stockmann and why they started with Leanlab was that they've been in the market for over 140 years, selling premium products to Finnish consumers. And what did a few years ago, they made a strategic shift from selling premium products to really helping customers to support their lifestyles. So moving from selling products to more like lifestyles. To succeed in this richer experience strategy, they obviously needed much deeper connection with their customers. And for that, they built a quite extensive customer voice program, including their staff and customers. And Leanlab is a central piece of that program. With Leanlab, they have access to over 1,300 customers on a regular basis. They can reach out to at any time to test and iterate ideas, concepts, and new services they're about to launch. So let's look at what Stockmann has to say about this program. I had Stockmann on the stage last year when we were at the Stockholm experience event. So I'll play this short 4-minute video, and I'll let Stockmann himself, or the guys from Stockmann, to explain how they are using Leanlab, what they're using it for. So let's take a look.
Well, what we have been using for the online community that we started building 2 years ago, so we basically invite anyone to join. Most often they are our loyal customers, like either members of our loyalty program or somehow otherwise just fans of the company, because I would assume that someone who is not in any way interested at Stockmann is not going to join our community. But we have gotten a nice amount of members now, so we have 1,300 members in Finland. We are thinking about launching it in the Baltics at some point, but so far, since we have kind of only one department store in each country, so it's a little bit smaller market and a little bit smaller population there as well. So how to make sure that if we launch it, we get big enough audience and then we can collaborate there as well. It's a very kind of mixed media platform, so we do use different methods there depending on the case that we are operating with. So either more qualitative or quantitative methods, and of course it's usually a mix of both, and different phases of the project, then we use different methods there. In our team, it's coordinated by one person, so my team member who kind of keeps everything together with the help of Leanlab, the company that is offering this tool to us. And she is kind of the glue between all the units at Stockmann. So she is collaborating with different units and stakeholders, because we are not kind of selling it internally, but we are making sure that everyone knows who works in any kind of development role that we have this community in use. And that's why we kind of have been very happy that we have gotten very different kind of tasks there. So it's not only digital, even though that's of course like heavily there, but it's very much also about developing our selection, what kind of brands customers would like to see at Stockmann, how can we improve our service, or whatever it might be. So very, very diverse way, but for us it has been the biggest asset in this kind of very agile, because people are nicely active in the community. Once they join, majority of the people are very active, and if we launch a new task, it's basically within 48 hours that we have gotten a lot of responses. So it kind of helps us also to really quickly to pivot if needed in the decision making that we have in hand. And meidän stokka is in Finnish our Stockmann, so the other lesson of Finnish for today, in addition to tavaratalo, which is the department store in Finnish. Okay, finally, 2 case examples just to quickly show you what kind of things we have been doing there. The one on the left is about a time booking system. So we are offering services like fashion advisory, beauty, makeup services, interior design, and we needed to update the time booking system. And since we didn't want it to be just like a let's buy a new tool and implement it, we kind of started with different kind of insight gathering, but towards the end, we did a lot of different prototype testing with our customers in the community to kind of fine tune it, to make it as easy as possible and to adjust what was needed. So that helped us a lot in the final steps as well. That's kind of ready and live now. And the other case, which is related to our click and collect, so it is kind of more omni-channel thinking, since as said, some of the processes are old and quite manual. So we want to really improve and make it more seamless and efficient and smooth for customer. So there we have started to kind of gain understanding on how are we doing at the moment with our services, that you can reserve something in the store or order online and pick it up from store. But what we also did a lot was kind of to ask customers to share benchmarks from elsewhere. So we are kind of crowdsourcing it in a way for them to give us the best tips, share screenshots, whatever they feel is the right method to really understand what kind of service experience is the one that they are looking for. And that's why we've been kind of now doing several different things there as well to understand that how to develop that. Is it more technical? Is it a process-wise? What is kind of the biggest pain point? Because as said, of course, you need to develop things in the right way, but you also need to make sure that you are fixing the right problem. But these are only 2 examples, so we are doing several other things. Feel free to catch up with me if you want to know more. But
so thanks for Stockman stepping in here. But what I want to leave you with today is some tips going back onto the flat user learning curve. So, obviously you need to establish where you are on those curves. I think there are potentially 3 curves. So if you're at the flat pink curve, you're probably losing your relatively CX competitive ground because you're making too many guess decisions, and some of them are winners, but a lot of them are losers. So if you're there, my tip and advice is to start at anywhere in that journey, and you will get better. If you're on that blue curve, you're probably holding your relative ground over, to your competition in terms of developing customer experience. A lot of customers that we work are probably in that space, and often they might get stuck in certain points in that customer journey. So my advice would be to review that whole process and try to figure out where you guys go soft during that process. Is it on the early discovery, or is it in the mid phases, or in the last phases? A lot of our customers might get stuck in the early phases, so that's where they go soft. They test, but they test too late in the process, so test earlier. If you're on that green curve, you're doing probably really awesome. You're gaining relative CX competitive ground over to your competition. You have clearly established teams and processes. There, my advice would be to look into digital tooling, how you can further accelerate the way you work with your customers, maybe democratize the user research access through platforms like Leanlab, so you don't have a bottleneck of certain people just talking to your customers, but you can open it up and let your teams to illuminate their own parts. So that's what I had to say today. Thank you very much. And if you're interested in a demo, we have a demo coming up in a few weeks, so you can scan that or look us up on leanlab.co. Thank you.
Thank you. The kind of qualitative customer insights is something that's definitely, like when you start working with journey management, what I have noticed many times is that when we start looking at what kind of insights you have, it's quite shallow, and you need much more like qualitative insights, and that's what Leanlab is kind of quite well positioned to build. But hey, questions from the audience?
Thank you, Ville. Great presentation. You talked about different verticals that you experience in. And the example with Stockman is typical B2C. Do you have any B2B examples? And in that case also, how do you go about in recruiting? Thank you.
Yeah, we have most traction with mature B2C organizations because they are ahead of the curve. With B2B organizations, they are a little bit shy in talking to their customers. Some of actually are blocking designers to talk to their customers. Somebody from the accounts or sales comes and says, now it's not a good time, or we need to be present when you speak to, which is, mind-boggling for us as practitioners. And how we are circumventing that is in a B2B context, instead of building customer labs, we might be building employee labs. So allowing employees to kind of share their thoughts and experiences. And that's the first step for a lot of the B2B players to get started. So recently we run a program for service maintenance staff. So they got invited across the world to share their experiences, and that was a really good experience for the brand. And then maybe the next step after that is start working with, directly with customers. The recruitment is done always through our customers. So we're working with companies like Finnair and whatnot. So they have quite established programs how to source the customers, and we recruit from there predominantly.
Good. Any other questions? There's an online question.
There's one from Anne. What are the things that your customers have been most surprised or happy about with your approach, with your service?
Well, we recently had a customer do, so we invite customers to share their experiences and obviously help us to develop our product further. And we've been working with this Nordic insurance brand for a number of years, and they started in Finland, and now they've been scaling the Leanlab to all countries. And the surprise for them has been that they've been able to lower the threshold of working with users, and they say that they have tripled the frequency of working with users. So we can see that on the data that they used to, run one survey a month on our platform, which is very little. And now they have tripled that use. And obviously now they are learning much faster, and they can kind of become better at their learning curves. So that's something that customers take by surprise. And then the sheer nature of good, willing participants. People are really happy to participate. They're not expecting high monetary rewards in exchange for participation. People have connection with the brand, and they want to help that brand to make those experiences better. So a lot of our customers are not spending more than, let's say, a couple of €1,000 on annual basis on incentives and money and sort of things. It's more about building that connection between the design and development teams and the customers.
Okay, good. Well, hey, let's hear a round of applause for Ville. Thank you, Ville.